This is So Help Me Todd episode 3 discussion / review titled Second Chance. Let's talk about it.
Live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings, I'm a big fight.
This week was another fantastic episode. We see that Todd is trying to help a friend after he bumped into that friend at another friend's baby shower. So we see that a lot of their friends, they're getting on with their life. They're having kids. They got a 401k. They're diversing their stock portfolio. And Todd and the friend that he bumped into, they're still kind of struggling to kind of find themselves in the adult world. But his friend is having a rough time. He's going through a lot of stuff, and he's on the possibility of going to jail or I say jail, not prison. Going to jail for a little while for trespassing. Now, Todd is going out of his way to help this friend because he sees a little bit of himself in this friend. He had his own legal troubles and his own feelings about growing up and, not really having nobody go to bat for you. So Todd feels like it's his job to help his friend, and that's not a bad thing because his friend was technically being screwed over. Now, sure, he convinced his mom to eventually take the case because yet again, each week we see that the cases tend to kind of also revolve around Todd and his mother's kind of situation, if you will. We see that every week the case kind of has something to do with how Todd and his mother kind of, combat or view each other. And this week, Todd was trying to go to bat for his friend, and his mom didn't really quite believe his friend was innocent because she knows that he had a troubled past, but Todd sees like the better outcome of his friend and the higher possibility of him, if he just had someone in his corner to go to bat for him, he could have a better life. And as the episode progresses, we see that Todd and his mother both kind of change with the whole perspective of his friend because his mom gets him off of the very first case, but then the next day he gets arrested for committing burglary and, theft. Okay, so he broke into the place. So it was burglary and theft. Yeah, okay, so he committed a burglary, which also led to a theft. But anyway, so now we see in the entire episode, we see that both of their stances have kind of changed. His mom still doesn't believe him, but Todd doesn't stand a chance to really believe him anymore because then he gets put on house arrest and he cuts the bracelet off. So now we have Todd and his mom, which were kind of on the same page a little bit in the beginning, but now Todd feels that, his friend is just beyond help. His mom kind of feels that like he's hurting his uncle and his cousin because, he just keeps doing all these criminal things, and Todd is on the verge of giving up on him. But this also kind of relates to Todd and his mother. We know that their situation and their relationship is a rocky one at best. But like I said, from the very first episode and the second episode, each case each week kind of leads to them getting just a little bit closer with each other. And that's what we were dealing with this week because sure, Todd is trying to help his friend, and then eventually his friend kind of, doing all this stuff, man, kind of convinces Todd, I don't know if I can help him. I just can't. But Todd's mother kind of comes to terms with it a little bit because she ends up bumping into her supposedly friends that she had from her life. And they were a little bit judgmental. They were judging her and everything and judging people around them. So she starts to kind of see how she was affecting Todd when Todd wanted to, go to bat for his friend. And I'm loving that from the series because the series is kind of breaking it up a little bit, but it is also kind of meshing it together. Like on one instance, we have Todd having his whole feelings, his mom having her whole feelings, but then when they get involved with the case together, they both kind of see the opposite sides, and then they end up eventually coming together by the end of the episode. So after his mom kind of bumps in, with her friends and kind of have this revelation, she decides to, go the extra mile for Todd's friend and goes to bat for him and starts to investigate the case seriously. And that's when she finds out that there's a possibility he could be framed. And I'm gonna be 100%, I did not see the case going the way that it went this episode. I thought for sure that the uncle was setting him up, but after having the uncle talk to Todd's mom and everything like that, getting his whole story, seeing that he's working 2 jobs, being a stripper and everything else like that, he really legitimately cares for his nephew. He's actually wanting to be there for his nephew. He hopes that his nephew gets the best out of life because he knows that his brother was nothing but a crook. But we find out that his brother's been out of jail for a while now. And the whole flip of this entire episode, his brother has been using his son to frame Todd's friend, which is his son. Like it's a weird little rip, but Todd's friend's cousin was used in the crime with his dad to frame his son for, you know, the crimes. I did not see that coming. I'm gonna be 100% because we never really knew that his father was out of prison. We knew that he was in prison, but we never knew that he got out. And the fact that he got out and then he tried to frame his own son for murder. I mean, not for murder, for theft and burglary. Dude, that's crazy. I'm really digging the show and how they changed everything. But by the end of the episode and towards the end of the episode, we see that Todd's mom kind of convinced Todd to, you know, to hear her out, and they found the evidence, and that really made Todd, you know, kind of reevaluate himself towards his friend. And I love the fact that we have this whole other side story with Todd and his sister, and, you know, his sister trying to tell him he should go to the gala with his mother because, you know, his mother's been there for him. And I'm loving every week we see that, like, they're starting to grow and reconnect with each other a little bit. We really did get a lot of the familial dynamic this episode. It really solely focused on Todd, his mom, and then, you know, the case that they were working. But I'm really enjoying the fact that we do get that familial drama in and out in each week of the episode. We see that Todd and Sarah kind of had their whole little moment together this episode, and I definitely see eventually, you know, her kind of, you know, what possibly maybe leaving her fiance, something may or may not go wrong, and her and Todd kind of go back together because they seem to have a really good connection and they were enjoying each other's company while they were trying to get certain instances out of the case. So hopefully we'll see it kind of, I don't know, maybe, because I'm really liking Sarah and she's fine for one. But overall, we see at the end of the episode that, you know, they got his friend off and his friend promised to do better. And at the end of the episode, we see Todd and his mom dressed up for the gala, and she kind of just lays into her friends because it was stone cold, man. She kind of just told them what it is, so because she knew that they were kind of judging her behind her back and talking about her behind the town, but she had Todd kind of investigate them and get some dirt on them so she could just shut them down before they went to the gala, which was fantastic. I loved it. I'm enjoying this series so much. It's kind of light, but it is kind of emotional in certain aspects. So I cannot wait for episode 4. This is your boy, Dick Incredible. Don't forget to smash the like button. You can't smash any more. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them and subscribe. Peace out.
I cannot complain because today, I'm doing my thing.